Blessings to everybody. I pray that all is well. How's everybody doing today? Okay. I want to welcome everybody to Deliver Me From Me. My name is Apostle Alecia Biggers, and on this channel is where we talk deliverance, self-deliverance, actually. Thank you. And so this is a station where we talk deliverance, where you can learn to apply these tactics and these nuggets that I share with you to your life, and you will see that God will bring deliverance to your life. This is where God began to shine the light of his revelation on areas of darkness in the way that we think, the way that we see things, and we will begin to bring him glory on the earth. And so today what we're going to talk about, trauma bonding. Trauma bonding. For the month of October, we've been talking about overcoming abuse and trauma. Why we're talking about overcoming trauma and abuse? Because I have found out in our church, some have been abused and some have went through trauma and did not know it. A lot of times we go through trauma and we think that it's just an accident, it's just a fire, or it's just the death of a loved one. But let me give you the definition for trauma. Trauma is an emotional response to a terrible event in one's life. And so in other words, this can be anything. It can be somebody losing their job. That can be trauma to them. It can be somebody leaving somebody in a marriage. That can be trauma for them. It can be a child being taken away. So in other words, what may be trauma for me may not be trauma for you. But we're going to go a little deeper today. And so we're not going to just stop at the trauma, but we're going to talk about how a person begins to be addicted to the person who hurts them. In other words, the people who have become addicted to their abuser. And a lot of times this is more common than what we think. And so sometimes people think that it's just in love relationships. No, this is where, you know what, a child can have trauma bonding with a parent. A pastor can have a trauma bond with a lay member. An employee can have a trauma bond with their boss. It's where a friend can have a trauma bond with another friend, colleagues with colleagues, family members. So this is where we got to understand, blessings to you. So this is where we got to really allow Holy Spirit to deal with us, because you know what? There's a lot of trauma going on, and sometimes we get out of trauma, we get out of hurtful situations, and instead of us dealing with it, we'll hop into another situation. And so we got to understand this is very dangerous. And so when you got people that don't understand trauma, and when they don't understand abuse, where somebody is mistreating them, and they begin to think that it's normal. And so when you find people lacking the knowledge and the ability to discern what's harmful and what's not harmful, especially in any kind of relationships. So when you don't know what's bad, you don't know what's good, when you just take whatever because you just assume this person got your best interest. This is where if you don't know what you deserve, you'll take anything. If you don't know where healthy is, you'll begin to take unhealthy. If you don't even know what to accept in a relationship from somebody, you will take whatever that they give you. When you don't know what to tolerate, you will begin to take whatever that they begin to throw at you. And so this is where it's very crucial. And so when we have not learned from things in our past, and we keep duplicating those same cycles, when we're watching what our parents and people who raised us, when we follow those same toxicity patterns, it causes us to walk in a place of abuse, and you'll find yourself being connected with an abuser. And so I got some signs to let you know. First, what is trauma bonding? Trauma bonding is a loyalty to a person who is destructive. You ever been in a relationship where they whoop on you, they beat on you, they cuss you out, and you stay there because you say that's just how they are, and you make excuses? It's where this is where a parent neglect a child, hit on the child, slap the child upside the head, and that child keeps running because that child want that parent love. We got to understand, how many times you see people being abused, even and sometimes in some church settings. And the more that the people abuse them, the more that the people keep going back. You see some people on jobs, people being mistreated. And the more that they're being mistreated, the more faithful and loyal they are to their abuser. This is what is called is trauma bonding. And so a lot of this we see in our families, we see in our friendships, we see in churches, we see on our jobs. So this where it occurs because of its cycles of abuse by intermittent love and reward. This is where a person will act like they love you, and then when they love you, then now they're going to punish you. Now they're going to now beat you with their words. They may beat you physically, whatever it may be, but the relationship is up and down. It's never consistent. It's up and down. And so therefore, when you make them mad, they're going to say things. They're going to do certain things to you. But then when they want to butter you up, they're going to go get you roses. They're going to go buy you a diamond ring. They want to do sweet things to you because now they want you to think that, you know what, I love you. But the moment that high goes down, they get back and start being low down. They do stuff to hurt your feelings. And this is where some people are narcissists. Where this person is attracted to a narcissistic, that's it, woman of God, cycles of abuse. And some people, they are in these cycles of abuse and they don't even recognize that it's abuse. This is when people begin to feel trapped and they begin to say, I know it got to be better than this, but because the people are dealing with, they have been wounded and they've been dealing with trauma, they stay there because they feel like, I want to show them that I'm loyal. I want to show them that, you know what, I love them. I want to show them that I'm not going to give up on them, not understanding that you're in abuse. You are connected to somebody in a demonic way where the enemy have gotten people fooled thinking that it's love, and it's not love. It's a demonic tie. Just like a soul tie, it's a demonic tie, but it's affecting your emotions. This is where it's a powerful emotional bond that is extremely hard to break. People don't realize that they are in a trauma bond while others outside can see, but the people who are in the trauma bond cannot see. And so this is why if you know even family members who are in a trauma bond, this is where you really have to pray for people. Because can I tell you, these things will take over your life. These spirits, they will hold up your time. It'll keep you from walking in your destiny, spending time with somebody God never ordained for you to be with, and you'll be stuck in that trauma bond because you thinking in your mind, you trying to prove that you're faithful. You trying to prove that that I love them and I want them to see. So I got seven stages of trauma bonding. The first stage is love bonding. This love bombing. This is where they will shower you with excess love, with flattery, with appreciation in order to gain your affection. This is where they will draw you in, being nice, buying things for you, making you feel special, making you feel like you're the one. The second stage, trust and dependency. They will try to do everything to win your trust. They will make you depend on them heavily for love and validation. So in other words, these people will seem like they everything that you wanted. They will make you seem like, you know, I've been waiting. I thank God that my mom loved me now. I thank God that our relationship has been recuperated. They will do things to suck you in because it's part of that plot. It's part of that plan of the enemy. And this trauma bonding, this is an assignment from hell. And see, and if we're not aware of what's going on, and this is why I pray that deliver me from me, if it reach the right people, that you will look in your life and you will begin to understand, hey, she talking about me. Hey, I've been in a relationship like that. I'm with somebody doing me like that now. It's my goal to be able to cause people to look at their life and see, oh my God, I did not know that. Why? Because I have been in these same situations that I'm talking about now because I did not know. And so I told God, if you deliver me, I'm going to go back and deliver your people. And so that's why it's not about no shame. It ain't about, you know what, I know I'm not going to fake the fault that I did not know because I did not know. And so this is why the deliver me from me is to help you. And so how some people will be so evil And they would come in your life and they would have you to depend on them. They would get you trusting them. They would seem like they at your beck and call. They're faithful and they're committed. We got to begin to stop thinking that people, the enemy is sending people that looks like enemy. No, he's not. He's sending people that looks like friend, that they look like genuine people. So they will do things so that they can gain your trust and they can get you dependent on them. You feeling like, I never experienced nobody being kind before. You know, some ladies, I never experienced a man open up the door for me. I never experienced a man just telling me how beautiful I am. This is what these spirits would do. The next thing, when you're going through this stage, you're going through the love bombing. When they got you in, when they got you in the grip, the next thing you know, that was the high. So now he gets ready for the low. The third stage is criticism. This is where they gradually start criticizing you. They start blaming you for things and they become more demanding. This is where they start telling you that you ain't good enough, telling you that you're stupid, telling you that you're dumb, telling you that you know what, you don't do work. Your work ethic is not as good as the person that work with you. Here it is, the pastor saying so-and-so sang better than you. This is where all kind of relationship where the mama tell the sister, you know what, your sister look better than you. This is where they start criticizing you. This is where the person begins to start tearing down your soul. They do this so they can begin to manipulate you and control you, and where they can begin to train you for abuse. And this is why when we don't deal with our issues, you got so many people, we want to be, we just think, oh, me and my boo, are we doing this? And so some people get caught up in the hype when they don't even really know what a relationship is. And so they will begin to accept anything, and they will begin to start hiding little stuff that's going on, to criticizing. Oh, he don't mean that. Then they get to exposing you, talking about you in front of family members and loved ones, in front of your other co-workers, because they want to exploit you. They want to make you look bad. This is all a part of the trauma bonding. So they criticize you. The next thing they do is gaslighting. What is gaslighting? Gaslighting is when things go wrong, they tell you it's your fault. So here it is. They told you to pick them up at 4 o'clock. You get there at 4 o'clock and they say, I told you 2 o'clock. And you say, no, I didn't. I got the text. No, I did. And y'all arguing back and forth. And then now they're trying to make you think that it's your fault, when in reality, you know that what they told you, but because they have come so heavily on you, now you're second guessing yourself. This is what is called gaslighting. When you know honestly it's their fault, and when you ask them, can we talk about it? No, they don't want to talk. You say, can we discuss this? We'll talk about it later. And later never comes, because this is where a person now is coming to break your will. They're coming to break your soul. And guess what? This is a part of the enemy's doing, because the enemy want to get you at such a place that where you cannot get up, that you don't have no self-esteem, you don't have no self-worth, because now you're now doubting yourself. You're doubting that, you know what, what's wrong with me? How come I can't get it? You looking at yourself because this person is trying to make you think that it's you, when in reality it's them. But this is what trauma bonding does. The next thing to do, that is resigning to control. Now you no longer know what to believe, but the only way of experiencing good feelings of the stage one is by giving in and doing it their way. So when you say, okay, it's my fault, you're right, I'm sorry. So then now you're giving up your will. When you start giving up your will, that's right. They try to make you think that you are crazy. That's so it. Yes. Then you're giving up control. Okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have did this. I shouldn't have did that. And you're apologizing when you know it wasn't your fault. But because they're so convincing with their statements, they're so convincing with what they telling you. And you're like, oh my God, how did I mess up? How did I miss that? So then here it is. Now you're looking at yourself, because see, now this spirit from hell is tearing down you, where now you don't feel like, you don't feel like you can do anything right. It's making you doubt yourself. It's making you feel like, you know what am I doing? I got to get this right, because I want to let them know I love them. I'm a caring person. It's where you start putting your needs over their needs, and you begin to start doing what they want you to do, and your needs start lacking, because you're trying to convince them that, you know what, I need you. And all along, you know know they are hurting you. You feel like you're trapped. You feel like you're saying, oh my God, this is where number 6. There's a loss of self. When you fight back, things get worse. When you start telling them the truth, things are getting worse. But when you be quiet, you know what, and you let them have the power, you let them do whatever, it seems like, you know what, as long as they looking good, things are fine. But when you say something, oh, you're going to have a price to pay. So here, when you settle for anything to have some peace and make the fight stop, you lose all your confidence. Because now when you no longer can speak up for yourself and you allowing this person to desperately control your life, because here it is, you just say, I want peace. You just say, I don't want to argue. I don't want to fuss. I don't want to go through all this stuff. You got to understand, this is where the enemy now got his grip on you. It's where he got you now, exactly where he got you at. And here it is, when you start saying, I'm going to go, I'm going to leave, that's when the love bombing starts again. This is where it's an addiction. And so when they say, I'm not going to do this no more, here it is, they do it for a couple weeks, do good. Next thing you know, they go back to their old self. And the cycle, it continues over and over. And next thing you know, you living your life in a roller coaster, and that's your norm. And you saying, can I have normal? Can we have peace? Can we just stop this? And you know what? The person said, I like this. Everything is fine, because you don't understand this person's job is to destroy you. And so this is where you got to understand. So even when you have children, when they constantly looking at a parent who neglect them, a parent who don't do them right, and no matter that parent give that child false hopes, I'm going to come and see you, and the parent don't come. I'm going to get this for you for Christmas, and the parent don't do it. And yet when that child sees them, that child holds on to them for dear life. That child makes excuses for them, not understanding it's a form of trauma bonding, and it makes a person lose identity to their self, because here it is, they're just wanting love and affection. And so when you're in a trauma bond, the relationship is one-sided. It's other words where one person is in control of the relationship and the other person is passive. It's because you're now instability have become your norm. Things are never consistent. It's always up and down. And this is the lifestyle, because this is where the person, you and this person are always fussing. I don't care if it's parent and child, pastor and lay member, friend and friend, family member, lovers. It's always an argument. It's always trying to belittle another person. And this is where the person who's getting abused, they always find themselves going back to the abuser, because they feel loyal, because they feel like these are people who are codependent. And when they're, what I mean codependent is, these are people where they have been through abandonment in life. And so they always trying to please other people. They're always trying to put their needs, put other people's needs ahead of their needs, because they feel like, I just want somebody really to love me. I want somebody to really understand me. So this is the kind of people that give their all to these people. But when they get in these abusive relationships, it's where they strangle the life out of these people. And the people have no self-esteem. They're insecure. They have they have poor loss of self. It's because they don't even feel like they matter anymore, because all their strength is being given to this other individual. This is where they long, even if they don't even like the person, they'll even go back to the person. They'll go and ask the person, can we get back together, when they know that it is toxic, when they know everything in their life, ever since they've been in this relationship, they lost jobs, they lost friends, they lost their businesses, they lost money. But to stay in this relationship with this person, they thinking that is love, not understanding this is a connection from hell. And when people don't understand soul ties, it's a form of soul tie. And this is where the devil will put a foot on this person and draw that person back to you. It's where this person knows that this person hurts them. This person knows that this person makes them cry. Even mentally, they can't focus. They feel like they're trapped. They feel like they're in a box. And they find themselves keep going back. This is where they're constantly, I'm going to give you some signs. This is where a person constantly thinking about a person that harms them, a person that maybe abused them physically or either abused them even verbally or mentally or either spiritually. You got some people knowing that they mistreat them and they keep going back. This is where people keep trying to please the other. They keep trying to please the abuser, and they don't understand that it's a demonic tie. It's where they feel loyal to stay with the person, even though, like I said again, they know that the person isn't any good for them, but because they are addicted to abuse and they don't recognize that it's abuse. See, this is what it is, and that's it. It's a demonic soul tie. And so sometimes we sit up there and don't know, and you thinking that you love that person, you dreaming about that person, and they talking to you in your dreams. Those are demonic spirits strengthening the tie where they can control you. This is where that person is sitting up there trying to control your life. They watching your Facebook pages. They watching what you do because they want to control your mind. You got to understand, if God don't control us like that, no male or female should ever control another individual like that. But when we are in relationships, I don't care if it's mom and daddy. You got some people do whatever they parent, just neglect them and just take their money, don't care them for them. But because the person, well, that's my mom and I just love them, that's my dad, and not understanding that that relationship is toxic, that person cusses them out, the person telling them how stupid and dumb they are, the person telling them how they'll never be anything. This is a demonic tie. It's a demonic soul tie, but it's connected to, it's called trauma bonding. It's where you find yourself, this person is never there for you. This person, unless they're love bombing you, they will love bomb you to pull you back in, because they know the time you getting ready to leave, they're going to do something that you like to pull you back in. The next thing is, when you are accustomed to trauma, it is your norm. And so, because this person have trained you, that's just like you got some men would cheat on women. And so when some women say, well, you know what, at least I'd rather have a piece of man than no man at all. No, what you don't really understand is that man is training you. He's training you that he's going to walk over you. When you got some of these women, they working and the man sitting at home chilling, telling you what to do, and he waiting on you to come home and cook some food. That man is training you. He's breaking your mind, your soul. He's breaking you down where you can't function. When you got people tell, oh, you so fat, oh, you so skinny, oh, you so ugly. You know what? You ought to be happy that I'm with you. That's done to train you to take the abuse so that you won't go anywhere. This is where people will spend all your money. Charge this for me, charge this for me, charge. Next thing you know, you don't charge up all your cars for them. And you know what? They're doing it to put you at a place where you can't go anywhere, to make you spend all your money. Oh, can I borrow this? And then when they supposed to pay, oh, you know, I ain't gonna be able to do it. Something done came up. Now you trapped. You got to understand, people do this. And people do this, I'm telling you, in the church. People do this in families. People do this on the job. People do this in love relationships. And if we don't open up our eyes and realizing that you're connected to somebody who hell have sent them, you got to ask God to break that demonic bond between you and that person. Because this is where those spirits, this spirit have joined together in the mind. And it's a demon that's causing you to begin to think. Here it is, this person done did all this evil to you, and you'll easily forget about the evil and you'll focus on the good. I remember when we did this. I remember when we did that. And you forgot when they spit in your face. You forgot when they when they knocked your head off. You forgot when they embarrassed you in front of everybody on the job. You forgot all about that. But you said, oh, I just thank you that my boss just gave me that award. But you forgot about when they embarrassed you in front of the whole company. See, this is where the enemy will have you in your mind to feel as if this is okay. And you got to understand that it's not okay. This is where a person will physically remain connected. This is where they're connected in their mind. They're overlooking these bad behaviors and they're making excuses. They have become so addicted to the abuse that they think I can change them. If I keep loving them, they're going to change. If I show them that I care, they're going to care. And not understanding this is a tie from hell. And you got some women, they're staying in these relationships because they say, I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to pay these bills by myself. It's because the soul have gotten so broken, you feel like I can't have nothing without him. I can't do this without him. This is where not realizing you have made this person your God. You have made this person your idol. And so now you feel like you can't do nothing without this person. And this is exactly what the devil wants you to do, to be in a place of captivity in your mind, because you feel like when you're dealing with a trauma bond, you feel like it's no way out. You feel like I don't know what to do, because you're looking like, I don't know, God, how am I gonna get out this? Because the enemy is like he put you in this little box in your thinking. Your thoughts begin to become small, and you begin to start thinking the same thing over and over again, because the enemy wants to trap you and keep you at a place where you feel like you're about to lose your mind because of the abuse that you're dealing with mentally. And see, sometimes people say, well, you ain't had no, some of the worst wounds are the mental wounds. Because see, when you heal, when you hurt somebody on the outside, you see that thing heal. But when a person is wounded in their mind, the only person who can heal that wound is God. The only one who can heal that wound is when you're crying out and you're asking God to heal those areas. But when a person don't know and they're so connected to that person, it's where they don't even know how to think for themselves. It's where now they begin to think about what the person wants for them. And they feel like, if as long as I try to help them, especially us with the church, you know what, just pray about it, baby. Just pray and fast. Well, you know what, how long do I supposed to be praying and fasting? Because you know what, we're telling people in the body of Christ, we're telling people to keep on fasting and praying when you know that this is abuse, when you know that people are being mentally destroyed in their mind. And just because we saying we want church, we want seats filled, shame on us in our churches, because we are holding people in hostage, and we're just as guilty as the person who's controlling the other person, the abuser. Because when you're pushing somebody to stay there, I had somebody tell me their spouse keep on cheating with other women, and the leader told them, God got a church for you and him to birth out. How in the world can this lady birth out a church when this man keeps sleeping around with different women, and she keep going back, she keep going back, she keep going back, he getting other women pregnant, he doing this all this stuff, but the people telling her, be faithful, woman of God. You know what, this is where we have begun to become so manipulative in our churches, and that's not God. It's not God. God ain't talking about we need to suffer with somebody who don't want to be delivered. This is not, God is not telling you to suffer with somebody who can't control their flesh and saying you just stay there until they get themselves together. God is not saying that. This is why we need to read our Bible and we need to get delivered, because you got people are now enforcing these trauma bonds, enforcing people to be abused when God is trying to, they're coming to the household of faith to get set free. And when some people are abusing people in churches, telling people you need to marry this man is your husband. Here it is, God ain't spoke to the person, but you got people orchestrating marriages in churches. This is not God. It's a form of trauma bond. You're pushing people to the abuser. You're pushing to people who are hurting them, and they have no connection. This is why we got to get ourselves together. We really do. Because people have been so wounded. And the sad thing it is, people are wanting to go out and minister when they're hurt and wounded. They're not delivered themselves. And here it is, you trying to preach a message to somebody when you yourself are in bondage. When you yourself don't even understand what deliverance is. And so you got hurt people trying to preach a gospel that have not even set you free yet. And here it is, you got people flocking to these people because you telling them about their blessing. You telling them about all this good stuff, but you're not dealing with the areas of the abuse and the trauma that's going on in their head. This is where we got some serious problems going on in the church. And this is where God said, I want to heal the people in the church. I want to heal the people in the church because we're jumping and dancing and shouting on top of abuse. We're here it is. You got to sit up here. Your husband ain't been home in 5 or 6 days. His woman is sitting on the road with you. And here it is. You can't say nothing because the pastor say, y'all got to respect the man of God. The devil is a lie. See, this is why we got to get back to God. Because see, this is where I want to show you in the Word of God. Let's look in the Word of God. Let's look at Hosea 4. When you look at Hosea 4, and let's look at verse 6. He says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. In other words, we're in relationships and we don't even know how to relate to God. Number one, here it is. We're trying to relate to another human being when really we don't even know how to relate to our God. And we are mimicking what we see other people do. We are mimicking, been there, done that. We're mimicking what we see mom and daddy do. We're mimicking what we see our friends do. We're mimicking what we see people on television do. And here it is now. You got people, well, I want to be on Facebook with my boo because she on Facebook with her boo. I want people to think my life is just as good as theirs. And here it is. You got a bunch of people being copycats when they really don't know what love genuinely is because they have not met the love of the Father. It's where they're looking for a man or a woman to give them love and not understanding that you find love through Christ. You find love through loving Him, and He teaches you how to love yourself. And when you learn how to love yourself, He's going to show you now what to look for in a relationship with another person. And that's the pattern of God. You first love God first. That's why He say, go back to your first love, because He loved us with an everlasting love. But when you don't know the love of the Father and you look for a man, you got some ladies looking for men to be your father because your father was not there. You got some men looking for women to be their mama because they got bad relationships with their mother. And then we wonder why some men are in relationships and they're being abusive to women because they saw their mothers doing some things that they got dishonor and disrespect for their mothers. So they feel like it's okay to abuse the female. And so not understanding there's a lot of abuse going on in the churches. There's a lot of abuse going on in the families. There's a lot of abuse going on in our communities, even in our culture. And we don't talk about it. We want to put on these nice pictures like we're fine, but we're not dealing with the issue. And people don't realize I got to deal with me before I get in any relationship with somebody. Why? Because if I don't deal with me, the same stuff that I dealt with in my last relationship, I would turn around and bring it into the new relationship. And this is what God told them. My people are perishing because here it is. You saying that you are my children, but yet you don't even know me as your father. You don't even know how to love me. You still got saints. They struggling to pay their tithes and offering. You got saints don't want to pay their tithes and offerings. They don't want to give. They still putting $2 in the church, but they wearing $500 weave. They wearing Louis Vuitton. They sitting up here got on all this, the BMW, all this stuff. But then here it is. You saying that you love God, and yet you still giving the church $1. No, we got some serious issues. But here it is. We are addicted to somebody who don't look at you. They don't even look at you like you're a person. They look at you like you are beneath them. But because of that mindset, I'd rather have somebody than nobody at all, not understanding that's a demonic bond. And that's what this is. It's a demonic bond that Satan is connecting people in their mind. Because can y'all tell you, when you start having sex with a person, you begin to start picking up all their demons. And whatever that's going on them people, whatever you're doing, oral sex, whatever that you're doing, you're picking up their demons. And so now they can call you. You can be on the other side of town. They can call you and you will hear them in your mind because you have connected yourself. This is why God told us to wait before we have sex with anybody, because if you have sex with the wrong person, that person is going to turn your life around. I know a family member, they connected with a person that's tied up to poverty. They connected to a person that's tied up with toxicity. They can't keep a job. And when they tied up with that person, everything in their life shifted just to that person who they're having sex with. And you're wondering, talking about where's your warfare coming from? Your warfare is coming from the person who you sleeping with, and you sitting up here asking God to bless, but God can't bless no mess. And this is what we got to understand. This is what we got to say, God, I need you to break this soul tie with Bobby. I need you to break this demonic tie with John. Because here it is, you stop sleeping with them. But here it is, they call you at 12 o'clock midnight. You ain't heard from these people in 6 months. They call you and knock on the door, and you find yourself in bed with that person. That's a demonic tie, because nothing about what you did is normal. Nothing about what you did it's not God. That person got a tie over you. And you don't realize that when you begin to have sex with a person, just because you get out of the bed, you still are tied with them. And not only are you tied with them, but you're tied with everybody who they slept with. And so now it's changing who you are in your thoughts. It's changing who you are, the way that you see things. So now you're no longer seeing things the way that you want to see things or the way that you was taught. Here it is, you was faithful in church. You was faithful to God, but you start sleeping with that person. When you start sleeping with that person, now you find yourself you don't want to read. Now you find yourself you don't want to go to church. You don't even have a desire. You know why? Because that spirit that was in that person, now you have become one with it. That's why the spiritual law say when a man and woman come together, the two becomes one. And so even though you thought you broke up with them, and the reason why some of us are so messed up in our head, because you still got a soul tie with the 10 people you slept with, and you still connected to them. And that's why you keep wondering why you thinking about them. You thinking about them because you tied to them in the spiritual realm. And this is where we got to begin to understand the enemy wants you to be tied in these demonic ties, because he knows when this happens, he can destroy and he can derail your life. He can cause you here. It is God had a purpose for your life. Now you have detoured, and now you're going in a whole different direction God never meant for you to go in, all because you slept with somebody one time. And here it is now, you can't do nothing about it. That's it. Had sex with him one time, now he's on the sexual abuser register. Come on. And then we sitting up here, you got some people where I can change it. You can't change nobody. If you can't change your own life, don't think no sex can change nobody. And that's what our problem is. That's why the Bible say ignorance. My people are perishing because they lack in knowledge. You trying to have sex, and God said, I'm trying to give you knowledge. God said, I'm trying to let you know you're dealing with demons, just like how you can't see this COVID, you can't see this flu. You got demons around here. It's their job to lure and influence people to do things where they trap themselves. The Bible says in Proverbs 26:2, a curse can't come without a cause. And the cause is when you got these young people sticking their tongue out their mouth. They don't understand that now it's an initiation to a whole nother demonic realm of being evil. Here it is, now you sticking your tongue out. Women sticking their tongue out to other women. Then now you sticking your tongue out to animals. Now you sticking your tongue out doing God knows what, and not understanding it's an initiation, but we keep doing what we hear other people doing because we think that it's fine. No, it's a trap of the enemy. And so the enemy, people don't understand, the curse comes by what you do. The curse in the initiation to the devil, it comes by what you do. And so when you open up your mouth and you say certain things, demons come in. Apostle, how can you say that? In Romans 10:9, the Bible says, when I confess with my mouth and I believe in my heart, Jesus come in. So if I open up my mouth and I ask Jesus to come and live in me, he comes in me. So if I'm sticking out my tongue and I don't recognize that this is a demonic sign, it's going to draw demons to me. If I open up my mouth and say a curse or a spell, those demons will come inside that person who says it. And here it is, because people are ignorant and they lack the knowledge, and because they don't know who God is. And that's what one translation says. God said, you don't know me. And the Bible say hell is enlarging itself because of people being ignorant. And a lot of these ignorant people are people in church. Because here it is, we want to all this wrong. That's fine. But you better put something in your mind so that you can recognize what are you doing. Because some of this stuff that we are doing, you are invoking demons. Certain dances, some perfumes, certain shirts. People don't want to understand when these people walking around with these skeleton shirts on, you are invoking the spirit of death. When you got people talking about Halloween, the spirit of Halloween, it's a spirit of murder. It's a spirit of evil. It's a spirit of darkness. But when you got saints don't understand, when you got saints thinking that it's okay, it's because they don't understand. You are lacking knowledge. And guess what God said? He said also because you have rejected knowledge. He said, I will reject you from being a priest for me. He said, because you have forgotten the law of your God. He said, I will forget your children. So God is saying, so because you don't want to listen about these trauma bonds, you don't want to listen about these spirits, because here it is, you just want to have a good time. You just want to please your flesh. And you sitting up here, gave your life to the Lord, and you haven't picked up your Bible. We playing church. We doing whatever we want to do. He said, guess what? I'm going to forget. I'm going to reject you from being a priest of mine. And also, I'm going to reject your children. People don't understand. God began to share with me in prayer. He said that the enemy this Halloween, the enemy is sending initiations for murdering children. And this is why we have to pray for our children, because parents lacking knowledge. They don't realize that these people have released spells and curses, and they want incidents and accidents, and they want things to happen to the children. And this is why we have to be in a place of prayer. But because some people are so they so connected to their man or their woman or whatever, they don't even care. Just going on, just be in the house at so and so time, ain't paying attention, not praying for your children. We got to understand that the devil is not playing. The devil is not playing out here while you sitting up here trying to be in love, not understanding you are in an abusive relationship yourself. But because you don't love yourself, you will take anything. And that's why I do Deliver Me From Me, so that you can learn to love yourself. Is it work? Yes, it's some work. But you got to be willing to love you, because guess what? If you want what God got for you, you got to be willing to pay the price. He said, to much is given, much is required. And you can't think that you're going to walk in the things of God. God is going to bless you with the man or woman of God. He's going to bless you with the business if you have not proven to him that you are healed. He got to know that you're going to treat people right. He got to know that you're going to look like you're his child. But the sad thing it is, people are talking about God, but they don't know God. I was reading another translation. God said that the people don't even know me. He said that they don't even know me. And so when we're talking here about these trauma bonds, I'm going to show you. This is where the enemy want people to feel that there's a certain, it's a syndrome called the Stockholm syndrome. And this is a syndrome when a person, when somebody have kidnapped the person, they raped the person, and they have held the person captive. This is where the person being abused would develop a feeling of compassion for the person who raped them. This is where they would develop a feeling of sympathy for somebody who have made them a slave. See, this is where if you don't get your mind right, if you don't recognize, you know what, when they taking all your money, when you was asleep, they took all your money and they done went up there to the gambling house. They done took all the money out the bank and they done went to Biloxi. Come on here. And you sitting up here talking about we gonna work it out. The devil is a lie. When you done found this person, when you done found your mama, you gonna let them stay with you. And here it is, you came home and everything in your house missing. And you saying, you know what, I'm just gonna pray for her. No, that is a toxic relationship. That's a trauma bond, and ain't nothing God sit there and told you to let somebody to abuse you. We got to know what's God and what's not God. This is where some people, you can love them afar off, because here it is, you trying to go forward, but the more you trying to go forward, somebody is taking you backwards. And you telling me because you feeling sympathy and you feeling compassion for somebody who mistreated you? This is a syndrome called Stockholm syndrome. This is a real syndrome where people who have been hurt and abused, and they're so connected with the abuser. And see, this is where people do the same thing with sex traffickers. I was watching a movie. Here it is, the pastor sitting up there beating and doing all kind of God-forsaken things that are not biblical, and you had certain members wanted to stay. This is why God told a Lot wife, he said, don't look back to that Sodom and Gomorrah. But because that spirit wanted to look back, looking back at wickedness, not understanding that's what these trauma bonds, it will cause you looking back. Because here it is, you don't know what it's like to look forward because you're too consumed with what you know. And we got to understand what you know will hindering you. This is where God say, don't look back. Look forward with what I got for you. This is where you got to trust God, and you got to say, God, you know, I need you to help me. Because when this thing is so serious, this is where when you start disliking the person, but something tell you, go back. Here it is, you packed up your clothes, packed up the children's clothes, and you go back. Here it is, I have people call me and told me they have experienced pastors doing witchcraft in churches. Can I tell you, they have went back to them same churches? I'm not lying. They sit here and telling me the pastor's having sex with the women in the church, the pastor doing witchcraft in the church, and they sit up there, ask me to pray for them, and I look on Facebook, they back in the church praying, and they in the choir stand, and I'm like, oh my God. People are really sick, because here it is, these people call you back and talking about God say, you know what, God say you belong here, and you know these people doing some stuff that's not of God, and you go back and you not understanding. God said not only in Revelation am I going to deal with Jezebel, he said, but I'm going to deal with everybody who eating at Jezebel table. In other words, so when you are condoning wickedness, when you are sitting up there agreeing, and you know these people invoking demons to bring people to their churches. You know they invoking demons where they can prophesy to people. And you sit up there because we had a good time and you know this stuff, but then yet you right there with them. You know what? That's a trauma bond. This is a trauma bond. I'm showing you this stuff is so serious. It's so serious. And the sad thing about it is they don't want me talking about stuff like this because they know people ignorant. And you got some people, they'll look at, oh, I don't want to hear about that. Not understanding God that sent you a way of escape, but because you chose not to listen. Because here it is, some people don't even want to hear the truth. Some people rather stay in a place of abuse. Some people rather stay in a place of bondage. You know what? I've been like this all my life. We've been like this all. Well, baby, just because you've been like that all your life, it doesn't mean that God is saying that you're supposed to stay there. When the children of Israel, when God delivered them from out of Egypt, some of them still stayed in Egypt. This is where you got to understand. We talking about this demonic bonding. This is it's called trauma bonding, but it's a demonic bond that people are bonding with people that are hurting them, and they feel obligated because they helped me. They were there for me. I don't care if they were there for me. I know you sitting up there worshiping the devil, and I know you doing some stuff. Deuces, I'm about to go. I'm not going to be loyal to you when I know what you're doing is not right. And this is where God's saying, because my people lack the knowledge. The second scripture that I got for you, I want you to turn your Bibles to James 1 and verse 4. James 1, in verse, not 4, but verse 5. He said, now if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives to all generously without criticizing, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith without doubting. For the doubter is like the sea surging, driven, tossed by the wind. So you got to understand, if you need wisdom, God, I need you to show me, am I in a trauma bond? Is this a demonic bond? This is where you got to be willing to examine yourself. Am I in a situation, that when me and this person I'm in this relationship with, and it looks like they treat me well, but then when they treat me well, they also get on these verges where they treat me real bad. And then when they treat me real bad, I feel low. I feel like I'm nothing. And then here it is. Then they go back and they go buy me a big gift. And then we be in love for a little while. Then the next thing you know, they treat me bad and they start calling me names. And I'm telling them I don't like it. And the more that I say, the worse that it gets. And then the cycle continues. You got to understand, that's a demonic bond. And when you're telling somebody, you're hurting me, and they don't listen to you, and when you say, can I talk to you, and they're not listening, you are in a demonic bond. And you will say, you are abusing me. Oh, this is not abuse. This is not abuse. I told you, this is where they come with the gaslighting. This is where they come and trying to make you think that you stupid. You don't even know what abuse is. That ain't no abuse. And because they know you don't know no better, because they know you ain't reading. They know you ain't educating yourself. And you sit there and believe a lie over the truth. Because you saying they love me, because if they didn't love me, why are they giving me these gifts? They giving you the gifts to make you stay there all alone, while it's training your mind not to go nowhere. It's training your mind for you to stay there. You got some parents will trauma bond their children. The children go out to school, they look nice, got name brand clothes. They go inside the house, the children got to be in the closet. The children in the basement. The children can't eat nothing. Whooping the children. The children got to wear long sleeves. But then here it is in front of everybody. I love my mama. I love my daddy. But when they get home, it's a whole different thing. And it's a cycle up and down. Here it is. These children are terrified because they feel like this is what I got. And this is all they know. And can I tell you, when you're dealing with a trauma bond, when they deal with it as a child, guess what? You're going to be attracted to somebody who's going to do it to you as an adult. And this is the dangerous thing. If you don't recognize that something is wrong, you'll get in a trauma bond as an adult and you won't think nothing wrong, because you say, hey, I'm used to this. I'm used to somebody cussing me out. I'm used to somebody slapping me. I'm used to somebody calling me a stupid MF. I'm used to that. I'm used to that, because that's just the way that it is. And so because they was called that as a child, so now here it is as an adult, they don't think nothing wrong with it. And here it is. People are struggling. And this is where God said, why aren't you asking for wisdom? God said, I'm putting people in your life that's giving you wisdom. Why are you rejecting the wisdom? Why are you rejecting the godly counsel that I'm giving you? Why aren't you listening? God said, I'm giving you a way of escape, but it's not coming the way that you want it to be. He said, I'm giving you the knowledge. The Bible says in Proverbs, people are delivered through knowledge. God said, I'm giving you knowledge to let you know what you're sitting in is not good. What you're involved in is not good. You got some people in these organizations, in these sororities, and they're doing all this God-forsaken things. And just because you do things in the community, you talking about it's good. No, it's not. It's not good. It's a demonic bond, because when you got to release curses on yourself and your family members, if you want to get out, that's a demonic bond. So if you say that I want to get out now, I got to curse my family. I got to speak evil over my loved ones because I want to get out of this organization. That's the kind of stuff that people are in, but they saying, oh, we're God-fearing sorority. Oh, we're a sorority that care about people. That's a lie. That's a lie. Because at the top of that sorority is Satan. At the top of that sorority is Lucifer. Because when you're going into a lot of these Greek gods and these Greek fraternities, you're now making salute to Satan. But because people have not given themselves knowledge and have not gotten in the word of God, they think because we go to church and we do good things, they think that it's okay. And that's where God is saying, my people are perishing because they lack knowledge. They lack knowledge. This stuff is so real, people of God. It is so real. Because here it is, you got people don't feel like they can't lead some of these churches. They feel like they can't lead the relationships. They feel like they can't lead a job. They can't lead a family because they feel trapped. And some people may listen and say, she just far-fetched. And it just shows how ignorant you are. Because the devil, even the people out there in the world, know what I'm saying is true. And you got church people are ignorant and don't want to educate themselves, turning their head because they don't want to deal with it. And here it is, we saying that we children of God. How are you a children of God when you don't know the knowledge? Because the enemy got people, he got demons that will watch you. He got demons that will study you. He got demons that will monitor you. Here it is, you got church people don't know, they don't know the information of the spiritual. They don't know and don't want to know because they know responsibility will be caught with it. And because they don't want the responsibility, they turn their head. And that's what a lot of people do. That's why some people don't like listening to what I'm saying. They want to turn their head because they know I'm telling the truth, but they want to turn their head and play church because they don't want to be held accountable. But it's going to be some things that's going to hit this earth. And if we don't get healed and delivered, a lot of people are not going to make it. Because here, the enemy is coming after your mind. And if you can't deal with your issues now, what in the world you think it's going to be like when all this devastation and stuff really start hitting the earth? And here it is, we as the church, we supposed to be the one that represents the Christos. We're supposed to represent him on the earth being a solution. But here it is, if you don't even recognize that you tied to a demonic agent, how in the world you going to help anybody when you can't even help yourself? That's why we call it deliver me from me. Because you can't deliver me if you can't deliver yourself. And that's real talk. You can't deliver me. And that's what you got so many people, they want to just put deliverance just into a trash can. No, you better get some knowledge and you better look at where is the devil living inside of you at? Where is the devil ruling that in your house? Where's the devil ruling that in your life? Because when you don't know, he got you. And that's a bond that the devil want to keep you chasing after somebody else when you don't even know what's going on in your life. And this is where we got to understand. We won't be able to say, God, I didn't know. Because God got true people, men and women of God that are preaching the truth. I ain't the only one. He got people out here teaching the truth. But you got people got itching ears because they want to hear the stuff that's going to make them feel good temporarily. We must become a student of the word. We must become the word so that we can be able to shine, that other men and women can see that we are God's children and that we can help them, drawing them to Christ. But if you ain't doing your part, we ain't doing nothing for the kingdom of God, but just having church. And the devil don't care as long as you have church. Because it ain't no threat to him when you having church. You are a threat when you got knowledge. You are a threat when you understand they releasing curses out here to these children for Halloween. You got these cities talking about the spirit of Halloween. These people releasing spirits, and we got churches talking about some hallelujah night. Come on. No, you tell your child, you know what, you ate some candy yesterday. We're not going to dress like nobody. We trying to learn how to be citizens of the kingdom. You ain't finna dress like nobody else. We already got too many personalities on the inside of us now. So therefore, we ain't finna sit up here and put on no clothes dressing like somebody else. We already got issues going on. So why would we sit up there and say it's okay to be somebody else? It's a trick of the enemy. But because people don't want to hear the truth and I want to do what I want to do, I like it. Well, you don't understand. Well, them demons that you fighting too, do you like that? But then you want to go to the church and you want the church to get the demons out of you when you willfully open up your door and brought the little Halloween stuff in and put the pumpkin on your door, not knowing you summon some spirits to your house. This is where we got to wake up and stop acting like we don't know who God is. Stop acting like you don't know. Yes, we do know. Google will tell you the whole history of all this stuff. Because some got a trauma bond with the devil. Like everything the devil do. Everything the devil say. Married to the spirit of whoredom. And you want to call a woman a whore because she got on a mini skirt. No, a lot of people in the church is whorish. Because you got more knowledge of the world than you got the things of God. That's a whorish mind. That's the spirit of whoredom. It's a demonic bond to hell. The Bible says hell is enlarging itself because people don't know the knowledge. Demons are walking around here and people don't have a clue. People are not spiritually discerned to know what the devil is doing. Don't even understand a demon is in them, a demon in their house, and they sleeping. Why? And don't know nothing. No, this is a demonic bond that hell is drawing and luring people in. And he said, you know what? They don't even know. They don't even have a clue. Because they don't know the spiritual laws. They don't know the spiritual kingdom. You don't get nothing else I say. You better know who you connected to invisibly in the spirit. Because what you do, it's a spirit behind that. It's either God's spirit or it's a demonic spirit. And if that thing keep pulling you, you already know that's a demonic bond. If it wake you up out your sleep and tell you to masturbate, that's a demonic bond. If it sit up there tell you to pick up that toy, do what you got to do, that's a demonic bond. And here it is. We talking about, well, I need God to know. You got to look at what are you connected to. That's why God say fasting and prayer to break the bands of wickedness. We got to break the bands that's in us. The bands are mindsets. Thought processes that the devil want to tell you to do certain things in your mind. And people thinking that it's them, not understanding it's a demonic spirit. So we're going to pick up with part 2 next week, talking about this trauma bonding. Because this is a demonic tie, an invisible spiritual tie where you're connected to hell. You're connected to the devil. And the devil will have a man or a woman, somebody in your life to connect you, to control. And when you find yourself, you're trying to get loose, but you find yourself going back. That's a demonic tie, which is another word for soul tie. And Jesus said, I came to set the captive free. Will you let him set you free today? You got to be willing to be honest with yourself. Can I tell you? Yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Yes, you may have to change your lifestyle. Yes, you may have to do things differently. But can I tell you, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. Because you got some people are so used to being in jail, they'll get in trouble just to go back to jail because they can't handle the freedom. And that's the goal of the enemy, to put a person in such a limited kind of thinking that they are imprisoned in their mind, that they rather stay in bondage instead of being free. Because they don't want to deal with the truth. See, this kind of word, you got to be ready to eat some meat here. This is where you got to be ready to grow. Because some people ain't ready to grow. They rather stay connected to the bond and say, you know, I'll get that later. But you don't know when your later may be. You don't even know if you're going to wake up in the morning. And this is why we got to begin to say, God, I need you to help me. Because I need you to show me any demonic ties, any trauma bonding that I got going on in my life. I need you to help me to break it. You got to turn down your plate and you got to fast and pray and cry out, asking God to get that person out of your mind. Get that person out of your soul. Get them out of your spirit. God, I need you to purge me of this person. Break the tie. Yeah, you're going to cry. Yeah, you're going to scream. But guess what? At least you know you're working to be free. So I pray that this word will cause you to come up, that it will cause you to become awakened, and that you will take inventory over your life, and you will begin to ask God, what is going on, and who are you connected to? This is Apostle Alecia Biggers. I pray the blessing of the Lord be upon you all. I will see you all Thursday. You all have a safe weekend. Be blessed.